to get past it. The trick, honestly, is study the lock just long enough so you can figure out where you put your key, then look in your pocket, look in your heart for the key. The way to find your freedom is to bring to bear not just your knowledge of the lock, but your knowledge of the key, and bring that to bear against the lock. The key, in my book, is that which is not of the lock. When I deconstructed the acts, I specifically looked for a bunch of key words. Couldn't find them in any of the acts. You know what those words are? They are the key. The word I couldn't find: love, compassion, truth. I found compassion once, truth a couple of times, but it was always directly linked to someone's opinion. If when you're dealing with these bureaucrats, you're not going there and just arguing with them about what the lock is, you're actually bringing forth your love, your compassion for them, you're acting with truth. As human beings, I don't care if they're bureaucrats, they're still human beings.
Right.
They're going to respond.
That's one of the things I like about that. You've got, I think it's the 13 things they don't want you to know. That's on your website, one of those things you can download. And one of the first things on there is that these are human beings. Even though they're bureaucrats and they may seem cold and heartless, that's just because they've been in the system for so long and they've just gotten that way. These are people. They've got friends. They've got family members. They've got problems. And I think it's really important. This is something we pointed out several times on Free Talk Live. You always have to remember that when dealing with them, is that they aren't better than you. Their S stinks too. And, treat them like another human being. And you're not saying be mean to them. You're not saying be harsh towards them. You're saying embrace them.
Be shiny, get as loving and compassionate as you can, seize the moral high ground, and then from there, when they start saying, oh, you must do this, you must do that, you can say, really? But wouldn't I be abandoning my love? I mean, because the thing is, they can't force you to do anything. They're just human beings. And if they see you as standing morally, well, not superior, I don't want to say morally superior, but if you are striving to bring them compassion when they're making these demands upon you, dude, I've seen it over and over and over. Suddenly their demands become far easier. Suddenly there's remedy available to you. And the next time you start bringing contests to bear against them, you have a reputation, and people know you as not a vexatious or angry or malicious type spirit. You're a good, loving man, and you're just trying to figure it out. And
Robert, we've got more calls. We've got more calls for you here, and I want to make sure you're talking right into your phone. It's getting a little muffled. I'm not sure if you've got a good connection. Let's go to John in New Hampshire. You're on with Robert Menard from ThinkFree.ca. Hello, John.
Ian, thank you for having this gentleman on. This is great. I want to suggest that if you're not getting the normal volume of calls that you get on Saturday, folks may be just listening and learning. So
we're doing fine. What's your question for Robert?
Okay, I got 2 points and one question. The question will be, how do we escape these lawyers, because that's essentially what it is. And 2 points. I recently, one quick that was in the news recently, somebody in, I believe, Sweden was denied a name for the child. And it was very curious that in that, the authority that accepts names for children was a taxing authority. Very strange, I thought. But more personally, about 20-plus years ago, I was in family and divorce court, and I recognized this business with the words that they were speaking a different language. I thought that there was something really insane there, or, certainly deceptive or potentially evil, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was a lot younger and hadn't been exposed to a lot of these ideas, and I learned to live with it, that it was just a system that I couldn't really do anything with. I actually ended up looking up a few words, but I didn't know where the heck to go with it. I mean, this gentleman has done such a fine job. Good luck to him, and thank you very much, Mr. Menard, for what you're doing. I guess the question is, how do we escape the BS? These lawyers are running the darn world.
Thank you, John.
You very much, and I'll listen.
Thank you, John. Robert?
The way I look at the lawyers, I see kind of a zoo. Imagine a zoo with a tiger's enclosure. What do you store a tiger in? A cage. What are cages composed of? Bars. What are lawyers all members of? The bar. Right now, it seems like they are your enemy because you have voluntarily put yourself in the cage with the tiger. Once you get out of the cage, those bars don't move, and their job now becomes to separate you from the tiger.
Hang on, we'll come back. Can you hang on? We got more calls for you, Robert.
Sure.
We'll bring you back with Jeff and Vince and your calls as well. It's Free Talk Live. Let's bring back Robert Menard from thinkfree.ca. It's a website that is helping a lot of people think outside of the box about laws and statutes and things that you sort of take for granted as having power over you. As it turns out, when you sign these agreements, it's you giving up your power to the bureaucracy. To the lawyers, and just fascinating subject. Lots of good free information is available over on his website, which it seems to me like, is your site fairly new? It seems like it's expanding. It seems like there are things that are being added to it fairly often.
Yeah, almost. Well, I'm so busy I'm not expanding it daily, but at least weekly anyways, we're adding to it. We've got a lot of ideas to get on there. Are you
perhaps going to add a message board to the site soon? I think that'll be very valuable.
That's in the works. We're looking at a message board. We're looking at a video blog. We're looking at a classroom where people can come in and click in, and it's like a virtual classroom where they would learn everything that really the education system should be teaching them before they ever graduate concerning the law.
Well, of course, it's not going to teach them that. The government's in charge of it. So let's continue with the calls and talk to Jeff in Washington, listening on KUSA. Hey, Jeff, you're on Free Talk Live with Robert Menard.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. I don't know if I have any point or anything. I just kind of want to inform people or say something. Anyway, I know in 1998, well, first off, I've gone ahead and accepted all the offers because it's scary otherwise. However, I am aware. I went to law school. I have a degree as a paralegal, and I quit because of all of this. In 1998, Washington State put out some legislation that said when you have your license, it says, the last name, comma, first and middle in big block letters, and then underneath the person signs it, because in law the person would sign it. Those are two different people, we said. And by signing it, I'm saying I'll show up for this guy in your court when he gets a ticket. When he gets,
you're agreeing to act as surety.
Pardon?
You are agreeing to act as surety.
What does that mean?
Okay.
You're the agent, and you will keep any promises made by them.
Right, and for the doubting Thomases, you can go to legislation and look this stuff up. It's right there.
You say you quit over this, Jeff? You were a paralegal,
absolutely.
And what was it that drove you over the edge where you decided you'd had enough?
He said it, love. I have love in my heart. I care about people. And I care that
You felt like you couldn't.
I was taking notes, and I said I did go to law school, and I quit when I saw and I could not come up with a word for what I saw. I couldn't. It was just like, oh my God, what happens? And
the lawyers imposing their way on people without their knowledge, without their consent, without their real, true understanding of what it is they're getting into, that sort of thing, just taking advantage of people.
Everything. I told him, we were talking one time, I was talking with this guy, I said, people don't like to hear it. I told him he wasn't a person. He got mad and walked home.
Jeff, thanks for the call. We appreciate hearing from you. Let's go to Vince in Indiana, listening on WXNT. You're on with Robert Menard. Hello, Vince.
Hello, guys. How are you doing tonight?
Good.
But I wanted to ask Mr. Menardi what he thought about the Tort Reform Acts of, the mid-1990s that the Republicans promised. And second of all, I want you to get your opinion of the no insurance laws, because I found out the hard way that I was involved as I was riding my bicycle that the person that hit me from behind is not insured. And guess who gets stuck with all the bills?
I am totally incompetent to respond to that question at all. I haven't read on it. I haven't heard anything about it, and I have nothing to say on it. For the guy who hit you, I would suggest that perhaps you have remedy in the form of notice of understanding and intent and the claim of right against him. Just because he wasn't insured doesn't mean he's not liable. The insurance just transfers liability to the insurance company. Whether or not you can collect on your claim against him, if he's a poor guy, that becomes an entirely different matter, I believe.
Vince, thanks for the call. I appreciate hearing from you. 800-259-9231. All right, I think we're close to wrapping this up at this point. Mark, you've just sort of been absorbing all of this. Did you have any questions for Robert Menard while we have him on the line here?
Robert, if somebody's interested in what you're doing, what's the first step?
If somebody is injured?
Interested. If they want to do what you've done as far as sort of extricate yourself from the legal system,